All right. Spencer Shattuck from Towson Watch Company here. I'm just going to do a short little Q&A, talk about my involvement with the brand and how I got started here, and tell you guys the stories that I tell to people who attend these watch shows that we go to across the country throughout the year. And most of our clients are not on social media, so I have to find a different way to be able to tell these stories and introduce the people behind the brand to you. We're going to start out like this. I guess I will first begin here with my full circle story with Towson Watch Company, which really began back in 2012 during my 8th grade year at Calvert Middle School. I was doing a project on watchmaking, and I was lucky enough to be able to spend 2 weeks with Hartwig, Balke, and George Thomas, our co-founders, and learn about the TWC approach to watchmaking and horology in general. And in the years prior to that, I had grown this obsession with watches ever since I was 11 years old. It started out with Mont Blanc pens, and then I got into watches. But this experience with Hartwig and George really solidified my passion for this entire space. And it kind of started before, but even, afterwards, I was like, man, I really want to start my own watch company someday. And I didn't really think it was possible. I come from more of the traditional New England side of things, where most likely I'll become an investment banker or something like that. But I really just wanted to start my own brand eventually. And 12 years later, I go to Johns Hopkins University, and during my senior year, Kevin Blank, the founder of Under Armour, reaches out telling me that he wants to find a new owner for the brand and take the reins for TWC and continue to grow the brand with respect to the original founders, and really have a passion for what they started, and evolve the company in a respectful way. And so he, in a way, chose me as the person to do that. He knew that I always loved watches, and in particular, what Hartwig and George had created here in Baltimore. So I had the opportunity to buy the company, and that's just what I did. So my senior year at Johns Hopkins, I bought the company, and I've been going hard ever since with it, that's for sure. So in terms of kind of the first steps that I've taken over the past 2 years with Towson Watch Company, really, I understood that Hartwig and George are getting into their older years, and I would have to find somebody, new watchmakers, that could take their reins, because unfortunately I was not going to be the guy for that, and Hartwig was definitely not pleased when he heard that when I first joined the company. But I honestly have too much respect for the craft itself to involve myself whatsoever in making Towson watches. I may play a role in the design behind them, but I'm more of the marketer, promoter, and so that's why it was so important for us to go out and find apprentices for Hartwig and George that were already very skilled working with their hands, but could adapt and learn how to make not just watches, but Towson watches. We do not follow a factory-made or mass assembly line strategy like many of our competitors at our price point. Every single watch is handmade from start to finish, from the components to the final assembly. And so we didn't really need to find traditional watchmakers or hire these guys at watchmaking schools. We could find people that were just used to working with their hands, goldsmiths, guys replacing batteries in the back of jewelry stores, and just worksmen, and turn them into Towson watchmakers. And that was kind of the most important thing for me to pursue. And that's just what we did over the past 2 years. And we've developed quite the team here at Towson Watch Company to take this brand to a whole nother level, while respecting what our founders, Hartwig and George, created over the past 25 years.